Is he giving me shit? All right, I think we're on. Yes, we are. Let's see if I can find the stream now. And then we are going to start it all over again. So I'm going to ask you the same questions.
Take it from the top.
Yeah. I'm going to have to now. Because I really want to punch this fucking computer in the face.
Well, then you won't have the computer.
I don't care. At this fucking point, I do not care. You know what? And it's my fault. I didn't even think to check that file. When I found it, I was like, yo, this is crazy. All right, so everybody's saying 5x5. There's another YouTube live stream. I'm going to hit it. There we are. All right, we're good. Thank you guys for the 5x5. Carrie, Grit and Grace, Get Prepared, Crow, Sean, Teresa, thank you for the 5x5. All right, guys, so we're going to start from the top because that was fucking horrendous. That was savagery. So anyway, real quick, I found a file of all of my live streams were being saved in a folder on the computer back from 2020. So 4 years of live streams. That's why my computer's acting like a bitch. Anyway, that being said, guys, this is Nicole Sauce from Living in Tennessee. She has a YouTube channel, Living Free in Tennessee, sorry. She has a YouTube channel. The link is in the chat. I will put the link at the bottom in the description section. So let's get on with it. So we are starting from the top. Nicole, can you please tell us again why you got into prepping? Sorry.
But, I've never told this story the same way twice, so you're going to get a different version of the same story because that's the way that goes. But I worked in public policy for a long time, freedom-oriented public policy, which is politics. And I was living out in the country and getting really into homesteading and growing my own food. I was very concerned about what was in the commercial food system. And as part of that, I became interested in wild edible plants and was listening to the Survival podcast by Jack Spirko, who I think you know who that is.
Yes, we do.
And he was like, 5 wild plants you should have in your yard. And I'm listening to him and I'm going, this guy doesn't know it, but he's an anarchist. It turned out he totally knew he was an anarchist. And then as I listened more and more, I realized that I was a prepper and I hadn't known it. I had a year of food at that point that was stored in my pantry. I had a whole method of making sure we had enough medical supplies, all of these things. But what I had not thought about, I hadn't thought about fuel and energy very well. And I hadn't thought about self-defense. And so discovering the preparedness world opened up a whole new world for me where I could, basically be better organized about being prepared for things and learn new skills. And over time, what I did was leave my corporate job and rely on the podcast. I roast and send coffee around the country, and I do the Self-Reliance Festival, which you're going to be speaking at in October. And the goal of that festival is to bring the homesteader side of preparedness together with the more tactical side, because both need to be doing and learning what the other side's doing.
Right.
You just did a 2 is 1, 1 is none, right? You used an alternative streaming platform because what you had wasn't working.
Right.
And here we are.
Yes, I absolutely did. Whatever. I'm still annoyed about the whole thing, but it does look better, and we are not, we are audio sync finally. Fucking computers. I shit you not. Anyway, listen, so in waking up, what was the catalyst that had you wake up? Like, what did you see?
I woke up from being a very left liberal communist type to realizing that all of these policies I thought we should put into place because, the world needs to take care of people and we're not fair, that it would be completely unfair to use socialism or communism to solve those problems, because then somebody has to be in charge. And if somebody has to be in charge making decisions, then that's not fair. And so I remember distinctly in Portland, Oregon, looking at how the transit system was being rolled out and how taxpayers were basically fleeced by that whole system. And and woke up and thought, this isn't fair. And I went in probably 1 week from very, very left to very liberty oriented. And the universe does funny things, right? So I was working in a building on the same floor as a free market think tank where one of the nation's biggest minds in urban planning and development and transit, but from a liberty perspective, happened to be. So I had instant access to economists who could sort of explain how markets and free market politics worked, which is why I went into that world. If I hadn't woken up there, I don't think I would have woken up to the preparedness. And it was really as a result of working in the sort of the egghead world, so to speak, that I realized that our societal structure was really crumbling from a just sort of a cultural cancer standpoint, and just became very aware of how politics work and what the elite were doing to you and me, basically, to everybody here.
Well, shit,
That's stuff you
that's
didn't know about me, right?
yeah, and that's a good reason to wake up. I mean, and it seems like you had a more of an inside track, right? So you were probably closer to it than any of us. Um, clearly, I hope this is not me because I'm gonna fucking body slam this fucking machine. Um, let's see. No, I mean it is me, but whatever. Fuck it. It's stupid. It's just starting. All right, no, we're good. We're squared. But this laptop is 2 seconds away from getting drop kicked. To see some, I don't know how to put it. Maybe eyebrow raising situations pop up and things behind closed door that we'll never see and probably don't want to see. But that's one good reason, again, other than others, to wake up. I mean, you're seeing some shit. You're looking at patterns. You're probably pattern reading, and you're looking at shit and going, "This doesn't make any sense." Um, how did you? Well, did your husband join in this journey with you without any pushback, or did you have to convince him to join in?
So I am single, and
Hmm.
the person I was with at the time was liberty oriented, but not as supportive of the preparedness lifestyle. And over the course of my journey, I think it actually negatively impacted the relationship. I think that's why that relationship ended. It's part of it. Um, and what where he got stuck was on the negative side of when you see the problem, right? You get very angry. You get very angry and you're like, why can't everybody see what's going on? Why can't they see how really messed up this is right now? And he got stuck in that anger space, and eventually it was to the point where the relationship had to end. So we parted ways in 2019, and I've been single ever since. There is a neighbor who you probably hear me talking to that people think I'm with, who was just in here, tactical. He lives next door to me, but we run the homestead together at this
Wow,
point. Yeah.
that's good that you don't. That's good that you're not doing it on your own, though. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But
No, it's great to have somebody I can count on here who has the same motivations for the homestead.
very good, man. Very good. So, obviously, we all know what happened Saturday. What is your opinion on the matter? I mean, obviously, things are still unfolding. A lot of sketchy shit is starting to surface. As with any situation like this, sketchy shit always surfaces. It's funny, like we can't have anything natural happen without looking at the conspiracy theory side of it. What do you think this was, and do you think it would happen again?
Do I think somebody's going to attempt to assassinate him again?
Yeah, right.
Uh yeah. I think, and I could be wrong. This is all opinion. I told you when you said that we're going to talk about this. I think first of all that Donald Trump's chances of winning the election have gone up a lot. So from a marketing
Donald
standpoint,
Trump's
it was really good for him. I don't think he orchestrated it. I don't believe it was some great orchestration. I know that's one of the accusations that's been out there. And I'm also not a tactical military person, but I will tell you this. I was in Oklahoma City when Obama came through. And I was in a hotel on, I don't know, 9th or 10th floor. Like I was way up in a hotel and I didn't really I knew he was coming, but I didn't realize how close to my hotel he was coming. And I remember I was sitting there reading a book and I looked out the window and there's two dudes with guns on the roof across from me. And I'm like, well, that's concerning. And then I realized that they were Secret Service. And then I looked out and there was Secret Service on multiple roofs in Oklahoma City, making sure nobody took out the president.
Right.
So then when I see what they had in place there, it seems very lacking to me that that whole roof was not covered. And then since it's happened, more and more has come out about just reports of, radio transmissions and the person not being shot who was clearly not supposed to be on a roof with a gun, for example. A lot of it's unverified because this close to an event like that, it's hard to verify everything.
Right.
But it's also not out of the realm of possible that this situation was allowed to happen. It's not out of the realm of possible that there was just not a high priority put, as high a priority as should be put on protecting Donald Trump.
Right.
And it's not out of the realm of possibility that some crazy kid got up on a roof because he figured out how to do it and he was just a crazy kid. In a situation like this, I like to look at all the options and say, like, which one seems most likely. And usually I find the answer is somewhere, in between there when we get to it. I think we'll never really know everything that happened because at this point, we're in a cover your ass situation because the Secret Service failed, right? And
Right.
how does that mean? How is anybody going to have faith that they can protect anybody who comes in, who they're supposed to protect at this point? Because it seems really glaring from the outside. So do I think other attempts will happen? This could be a foreshadow or permission given to other people trying.
Right. And that's what I said in one of my videos. And I didn't clarify one thing. When you look at the kid who took the shot at the president, when you look at this little scrawny nothing of a man, because he was a man at this point, right? I think he's 20 or some shit like that, right? 2021. When you look at him, you're like, this clown with no training got that close. Imagine somebody with training, right? So that was a concerning thing, and I think that can be the green light for other people to do what they want to do. Now, when you were talking about the building, that the kid was on, the worst part about the whole thing was that there was a water tower right behind that building, probably maybe 500 feet away from that. And the water tower overlooked the entire area, right? So if you had four guys up there, hell, or two guys just roaming around on the water tower, they would have seen this kid on the roof. Now, people on the ground saw him on the roof, laying up there. That's the craziness. And for 3 minutes, they're yelling and screaming about this kid on the roof, and nobody does anything. So, and then if you notice, did you see his presidential detail at the RNC?
Yes.
You saw the upgrade he got?
Yeah, he did get an upgrade.
No chicks, all dudes. Every guy looked like they were over 6'5".
Yeah, they're like, oh, somebody really does want to kill him. Well,
Yeah.
what has the rhetoric been for the last how many years about him from the left? Is at all costs get rid of this guy, and then the timing is uncanny after the very successful debate from Joe Biden.
That was an awesome debate, right? I'd watch that again. I didn't even watch it the first time.
I didn't either. I watched parts of it. I couldn't even.
You know what? I didn't even see it on Instagram for a change. I think I saw one thing on Instagram, and it was when he said something, and then Trump goes, I don't know what he just said. I don't even think he knows what he just said. And then, to cut off. I was like, holy shit, that's embarrassing. But now, of course, right, they're desperate. And I mentioned that, I mentioned it a few times. I'm like, they're getting desperate. Something big is going to happen. And this was it. I mean, and now you saw that presidential detail he had in PA, Pennsylvania. You were like, what the fuck was that? I mean, and listen, I'm not trying to browbeat or disparage females, but Trump is over 6 feet. You have to have somebody that matches his height, if not taller, so that you can shield him. Those chicks look like they might have been 5'7" at the tallest, and the shortest might have been 5'4", 5'5", might have been. And I'm like obviously, if you have a little president, like a Ross Perot, or if I thought he was short, somebody like him, right, a little dude, you get somebody at that height, that makes sense, but not a guy who's already over 6 feet tall. And the craziness about it is, and we all know this. One shot, one kill said he's 6'4", right? So if he's 6'4", still you gotta match his height. You can't get a 5'10" guy. I mean, granted, I might be able to drag him down and carry him out of there, but I'm still fucking short. I can't throw my body in front of him unless I jump, and I can't jump that high. But still in all, do you think? All right, let's put it like this: if things get worse, if things get out of control, how bad do you think it's going to get? Do you think that how bad do you think it's going to get?
Between now and the election, or in general? It's two kind of different things.
It is the election.
Okay. I think this may lead to rioting before the election. I was originally planning on rioting after the election because it already looked pretty likely that Donald Trump's going to win. And unless they manage to manufacture his loss. If they manufacture his loss, there's going to be frustration and less violence. And if he wins, the people who are still in complete denial that there is a populist movement behind Donald Trump and that people actually do want the things that they say they want here, right? People see Donald Trump as the candidate who's the anti-establishment, right?
Right.
And man, if he gets elected, the extreme progressive left is going to get violent. You've already seen that their first answer is violence. I've seen them calling for violence. Like, I'm friends in air quotes on Facebook with a number of very left people, and people who are all about don't go to war are screaming for blood and have been for weeks and months in some cases. And I'm like, that's not a very good look on you, since you're supposed to be this like pacifist. So, saying tear down and beat anybody up who supports this person is not a valid pacifist perspective. And yet there they are. And that's because they see this as a battle to the death and a battle for complete control. So I think we'll see riots for sure and some bubbles of violence. I think we're also already in a pretty precarious economic situation. I don't think anybody, I don't think I need to justify that one. We've all seen our grocery bills recently.
Yes, we have.
And that's, with the interest rates where they are and with our international standing going the wrong way, going backwards, I see the economy is going to continue to go down. And whoever is elected to president next is going to be left holding an economic bag of poop, basically. Do you swear on this channel or no?
Yeah, of course I swear.
Okay, a bag of shit. so I'm like, I don't want to get you all upset. But I think it's going to get bad no matter what. From just like we were already headed towards bad. We already have a great correction that needs to be made no matter what we do. It's very likely, I don't know how we'll reverse it, but it's very likely the US dollar will stop being the international currency.
Right.
And when that happens, that's going to hit our economy even harder. We are at the end of our dominance in a lot of ways, and it sounds scary, but at the same time, in there is opportunity to change, right? Where we're gonna change. We are in the middle of a change. What do you want the other side of that to look like? And if you keep that in mind and make your decisions for that, then those of us who make it through the change can help build something that's less tyrannical instead of more. Because the more tyrannical people are like, they're They're lashing out, they're pushing hard, and I think this just sort of like threw down a gauntlet.
It sure did. But the problem, no, and what you said with
Fucking A, can we cuss? That's cracking me up.
yeah, no, when he said that, I was like, I said, well, she's never seen my channel, so I curse
I
all the
have
time.
seen your channel, but I
Okay,
haven't seen your channel for hours.
all right, very good. So, and you know what the craziness about the whole thing is that obviously we're gonna see some crazy shit, especially if he gets elected, right? So I don't know where to place myself for the election because I'm trying to figure out should I stay here in New York and watch New Yorkers melt down, or should I go to D.C. where they rioted before when he won? And when he won back in 2016, right? Was it 26? Right, 2016 when he won. Um, they were rioting for 3 days in D.C. 3 nights, rather. Sorry, I think they took the day off and then they went at it a night. But I think with the shit that we're gonna start seeing, it's gonna be out of control. We're already starting to see a lot of backlash, like you were talking about earlier. How the left wants blood. That's all they want, right? And we're watching them on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter say and display how upset they are that he wasn't killed. Like, imagine that. I mean, it's one thing, like, not liking a dude, but then something like that happens. You're like, because there's some Democrats out there that were like, that was way too far. But then there are others out there carrying on, crying and cursing, and they're like, the shooter had one job, and he's an asshole. I'm like, the shooter didn't miss. Trump moved his head. That's an entirely different, you know,
It's
ball
hard to
game.
hit a moving target.
I mean, and he moved his head ever so slightly. So, like, imagining, like, everybody's mad at the shooter. I'm like, oh, his aim was off. He moved his head, and I'm not trying to give the shooter any credit, but that shooter had him dead to rights. He had him
Yeah.
dead to rights, and just because he looked at a board behind him, that millimeter of a movement saved his life. Because if not, he would have had his shit splattered all over the people behind him. But then, what would have been the outcome of that happening to Trump? Because I'm starting to think if he didn't make it that day, how bad would we be today? Would we be warring with each other? Would we be going to these stupid Trump is dead parties? Because I guarantee you the left would have had them. Would we be going to those and setting off something because these people are acting like savages? Or would we have just sat back, took the loss, and then waited for Biden to win?
I don't know that Biden can win. I don't think if Trump had not made it, if that shot had hit where it was supposed to hit, I think a different Republican would have come up and been elected. I actually think that is such a bad look for the left that that would have created a backlash. Do I know who that would be? No.
They don't even
Probably
have.
one of our strong governors out of Florida or Texas, though, would be my guess.
Well, what about Vance? Like, I don't know who this Vance guy was. I never heard of this guy till today. Never. And I know that people on here like, I know who Vance was, and no, the fuck he didn't. The guy's like a mystery man. He came out of the fucking shadows, and they're like, "There's JD Vance," and somebody was mentioning him today, and I'm like, "Who the fuck is JD Vance? And why do they keep talking about him?" Then I'm like, "Oh, it's the vice president." And then I go back to it. I'm like, "Well, who the fuck is this dude? Who is he?" You know, um, that to me, I didn't like that pick because there were two other picks he had that we knew who they were, and he picked this fucking guy that came out of nowhere.
But it's a smart move when you think you're going to be elected because you don't want people to want the vice president to take over, especially if people are already gunning for you.
I guess.
Yeah.
And Loretta's like, never heard of JD Vance? No, I've not heard of JD Vance. JD Vance is Don Jr., close friend. Bad idea. No, okay, there you go. Vance is Don Jr. Like I said, I never heard of him. People like, No, I'm sorry, but I don't sit there and memorize all of the fucking slimy politicians and their fucking their names. And I got fucking bigger shit to do than fucking worry about a JD Vance. JD Vance sounds like a fucking venereal disease, man. Like I don't know who the hell this guy is, and everybody's telling me he's a young face, he's fresh. That sounds like some Trump shit. I don't want to hear fresh. I want somebody who's known and somebody that I can trust. I don't know this guy. Someone said he's a jarhead. All right, that helps a little bit. But yeah, whatever, man. I think we are undoubtedly headed towards some shit. And I'm a little excited. There's a side of me that has a bit of an excitement about what could possibly happen when he gets elected, and we're going to see the same outburst and outcry when he gets inaugurated.
That's true.
Unless they do something grand, and if they do try again, the next thing they try is going to be a grand attack. It's going to be some shit the world has never seen, and that keeps ringing in the back of my head, and I don't know why. Right, so I woke up after the day after he was assassinated, and I remember thinking they're going to try again, and it's going to be something that's going to shock and scare the world like all at once.
But are they going to try for him?
No, I think.
Or are they going to do, because if you look at how they got, like how Biden had an environment where he could even be elected.
Right.
What had to happen? We had to tear everything down by over dramatizing an illness.
Right.
I don't think they're doing that again. I don't think the bird flu is turning into that. But what other ancillary thing like that can they do to ratchet up the distress if they even want to keep the office? Because the other question is, do Democrats want to keep the office? They have to at least pretend they want to, but do you want to be the person in charge when the economy crumbles? Not really, because then you're out next time.
Well, the thing is, they'll just keep it afloat until they can't. But I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about something grand. And it involves a device, a very, very small device with a very, very large yield. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about they're taking out him and damn near everybody in the immediate vicinity kind of shit. Right? So that's what I'm thinking. And that's what I mean by shock and awe and scaring the world all at once. I think that this would definitely be that would be their last option. Other than that, like you said, unless they try at him again, which I can't see them doing because the security around him right now is like on point where it should have been. But I mean, it is super tight right now, so I can't see them trying that again. But I could definitely see them trying something bigger.
Perhaps, or they may let it go. Because how effective was he in office the first time? He did some things, but the machine kept him from doing things. And I also don't know that I think he's as anti-establishment as he markets himself. Right?
I don't think this time around.
That's, maybe now. I didn't have a lot of faith last time, but the machine is there, and the machine is going to do everything it can to keep itself protected, no matter who's in office. And when you look at, our last 6 presidents, the machine kept going, even in a president like Ronald Reagan, who was like, hey, I'm going to have this budget committee, and we're going to get rid of all the waste, and we're going to get rid of the debt.
Right.
The machine still went forward.
Right. But you notice that his speech leaving, you ever seen his goodbye speech?
Nope.
You got to watch his goodbye speech. He dropped a ton of, the government's not your friend on his way out of the door. So you're right. The machine kept him in check, but he dropped details and why he couldn't do what he wanted to do. I mean, listen, Trump was effective. If you look at the things he's done, he's outpaced Biden. I mean, 8 times around. He's done so much for smaller communities. I think this time, though, we might see a different guy, and we might see a guy that's a little more in line. like you were saying, right? The machine is definitely probably going to crunch him a little more this time. I think we're going to see somebody that we don't recognize. But
Oh, and he may be signaling that he's going to do some appointees that are not standard inside people, because his last presidency, he put people in and kept people in who kept the machine going,
right,
like, who actively blocked anything he would want to do. This time, he has less to lose to just do whatever.
he
If
does
you
have
think
less
about
to.
it,
Right,
yeah,
this is his last chance. He gets in. Yeah, he can go bananas. He could run around the White House naked, and no one's going to say anything to him. Right? He could make laws and disband certain things, and no one's going to say anything. But we have to wait and see. But I definitely see this election turning into the Wild West. I mean, listen, him getting shot at, like you said, it gave. I think personally, it gave him the election. I think he won.
well, he
Just
got that
based.
iconic picture that we are now going to see every day between now and the election, with the
Though the
fist in
fist
the
in the
air.
air, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
with the blood on his face.
yeah.
Yo, you can't. Not for nothing. Like I said, I'm not. Everybody knows I'm not a fan of Trump, but that picture with the fist in the air and the American flag over his head, you can't fucking beat that shot.
Yeah,
You
he's looking
cannot.
mad and powerful.
Yeah, you cannot beat that shot. Like the photographer who was there, he tells a story, and when he was telling the story, he was like, "Oh," he says when he heard the crack, he knew what it was immediately. But everybody else sat there and went, "What is that? Fucking morons!" When I heard the first crack, I was like, "Holy shit!" So the photographer just says that he was going back and forth, and when they got him up, and he was fighting with Secret Service to, like, let the people know he got it. He came back around and he said he just so happened to catch that shot. I was like, motherfucker, that shot there made that. Now that photographer's well known, but forget about it. He's got the picture of the century that they're gonna make coins out of. They're gonna make T-shirts, memes, you name it. That shot is forever. That was one of the best shots in the world.
Yeah, it was. So when I heard about it, I was actually working at a booth at an event, surrounded by preppers,
Okay.
and they're like, all of a sudden, everybody's huddled around a tiny phone, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And they said, "Well, somebody shot Donald Trump." And my first question is, "Did he die?" And they said no. And then my second question was like, "Can I see that?" And you could see that his ear got grazed.
All right.
Um, Apparently, everybody else at the event thought they were pulling their legs. Like, I fell for it instantly. I was like, "Oh no, that could totally have happened."
Well,
But he seemed to know what was going on faster than anybody else. Like, he was like, "Oh no," and then he was like, "Oh, I better
I
duck."
better get down.
And the
Right, because
people
when he,
behind them are like,
well, the one lady that everybody's focusing on, did you see her?
"Which, the Secret Service lady or the?"
No, 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 no. There's
Oh,
a lady standing. There was a lady not sitting, I guess, right behind Donald Trump. And when the shots are going off, she sort of just stays focused. And then she gets down and she pops back up and she has a phone and she's still holding a phone. I think it was one last crack over their heads or something, and she didn't budge, as if she knew that this was it. When you watch the video again, it's the lady directly behind them. She's wearing
mhm.
shades. She had a phone in her hand. She was super calm, while everybody else was like losing their shit. I was like, "Holy shit, man!" And she caught my eye immediately. Now people are pointing around. I mean, listen, it could have been anything. The lady could have just been ex-military chick who's used to fucking gunshots. Who knows, you know? But yeah, the people out there now saying that this whole thing was staged. I'm like, so how did he damage his ear? Where did he get the blood from? He didn't have a blood pack in his hand. So, like, like the shit that I'm hearing, I'm like, how the fuck do people, like, we talk about certain things being fake because, we're lunatics. But now the left is doing it, and they're like completely wrong on this shit. It's like they're
Yeah.
trying to get into the conspiracy theory realm, and they're just wrong. Like, at least when we do it, we're somewhat right. These morons are just like fucking,
They're
yo,
like, "How did the bullet was going that way. How did the blood end up on his face?" Because he was on his, because gravity.
right, exactly. People, they ask the stupidest questions, the dumbest. They're like, but what about? I'm like, what do you mean, what about? You saw him when the bullet went like this. You saw him flinch his shoulder, like it was like a quick, and then he was like, oh shit, I better like his reaction was too real. Because if that was staged, give that man an Oscar,
Yeah.
right? Give him a fucking Oscar for the whole thing, right? But I don't know, man. It's funny how this is going to tear the country apart even more. When you
Well,
thought that, go ahead.
watching the media cover it right afterwards was interesting too. Because then I finished working my event, and then that night I'm like, I'm gonna stay off social media so I can concentrate on my mission today. And then I'm like, okay, this ought to be good, right? Pop it up. And the first thing I popped up was Facebook to see what all the people were saying.
Right.
There was nothing on there about Trump except for a couple of funny memes. Like there's one with him in the Matrix that was pretty funny, but I was expecting it just to be, calling for this is why we need gun control, all of that. And it was just crickets. And then I started hearing from other people whenever they posted about the Trump assassination, it was getting pulled off. Their stuff was getting deleted.
It had to have been, but because I didn't see that much on Instagram. I saw, and on X, I saw a ton of it.
Yeah,
Like
Twitter X had,
right.
Yeah, that's where it was.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I think this is definitely
And then the headlines were like, Donald Trump falls down at rally.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, after he was shot.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so he fell down, and they said that his security helped him up. I'm like, yo, I'm sorry, that security detail was out of control. And the one that they keep making fun of, the big girl,
Like that one.
Yeah, the one, the costume one you sent me.
Yeah.
Right. That dude, they're destroying her. She's getting ripped apart. Like if I was a Secret Service and I'm on on the internet and I'm looking at this shit, I'm like, yo, I'm taking everyone in Lassie's pictures, I'm printing all of them out, and I'm hanging up all over her locker, wherever the fuck her locker is, Because I've never seen Secret Service move like that. Like she moves like shit, man. And those guys, they train. They train. Their reaction is like secondhand nature, right? You see some shit and you go into automatic mode. And you can tell that, at least with her, because I didn't see the other female, I didn't see how the other females responded, but her response was garbage. I've never seen anything like it.
She's probably never been shot at before.
Well, shit, I never went to when I first became a fireman, I never went to a fire, but as soon as I saw it, I'm like, fucking right into fireman mode. Put my shit on, get dressed, fucking take a knee at the door, put your mask on, start crawling around like a fucking asshole, hope you don't get burned. But these are the things that come to you when you train. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like fighting. You train to fight, you get into a fight, you know exactly what to do there. This lady didn't even know how to holster her fucking weapon. And the worst part about it is, when you watch the video of her trying to holster her weapon, I saw it and I'm like, how come no one's breaking her balls about that? She had to move her roll out of the way to put the gun in.
They are breaking her balls about that now.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah, they're like, you shouldn't have out of shape people protecting
the president.
Yo,
I thought they had like a physical, like a look, and you're supposed to be able to run, and you're supposed to be able to carry the president for like a certain amount of distance. I remember one Secret Service agent telling me that one of the things was the close detail was you have to be able to carry him for a distance. I don't know if that was by yourself or whatever it was, but you're supposed to be able to carry him. And none of those people none of those chicks were gonna be able to carry him. So how the hell that was gonna end up? If he would have got shot, his brains are gonna be all over the fucking place. His stem was gone. The back of his skull would have been gone. His brain would have fell out through that, right? He would have instantly been dead. And that would have been it. I don't know if they would have taken him out then, because they saw what they would have saw. But that was the worst I've ever seen Secret Service move. I've never seen them move that bad.
Yeah, they're not going to be loving those videos for the next months to come. That's for sure. It made me think of every training class I've done. They talk about how under stress, like your fingers become flippers, right?
Yeah.
Because of all the shock, and then they try to ratchet up the stress on you so you understand what that feels like, so you can start finding ways to get through that. And that's what that looked like to me. Like maybe there was some training, but not high stress training. And then what happened? It's like, I don't know where my holster is. I don't know what to do with my stomach when I put it back in.
My
Yeah.
stomach's in the way. Imagine
Yeah.
that being the excuse. Let me pull my roll out of the way so I can put my fucking firearm. Oh, I saw that. I was like, what the fuck is going on? But somebody said that they're trying to blame Iran. They're not trying to blame Iran. They're getting credible threats from Iran to boost his security. That's all it is. That's all it is, man. So, and if Iran is trying to make a move, that would be interesting. That would be very, very interesting if Iran was involved with this, or just trying to do something separate from this guy. Now, they did say something about this kid. Oh, that they got his phone open, and there was nothing on his phone, and I thought that was very, very alarming, because that means that this kid did what a lot of us have always war gamed in our heads. If we were going to do something similar to this, we wouldn't have a digital or paper trail. And if we had a paper trail, before we committed this act, we would burn it. Digital, this kid had nothing. He had no rants. He had. I think they're checking his computer. I don't know if they unlocked his computer yet, whatever it was, but nothing on his phone, nothing on his social media. So
Yeah, they got into his. So Discord deleted his account,
no
and then
shit.
said, but there was nothing on his account.
Okay, all right.
That's what they said. I mean, who knows?
Why would Discord delete his account?
Probably not a good look for them to have his account there.
Yeah, but
I don't know why they did. They said it was for inaction or something, or I don't know, but it was very suspicious timing.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's very suspicious. I'm like, wait, you just heard Trump get, shot, and your first reaction was to delete his account? I'm like, yo, we're bringing you guys up on charges for fucking interference or whatever. I would have came up with some shit on my ass and fucking, because that's very suspicious. But someone said his father is FBI. I don't think so.
I hadn't seen that.
No, I didn't see that either.
Yeah, I've seen what everybody's seen. They say he was a registered Republican who donated to a very progressive organization in the same year he registered as a Republican.
Right.
And they don't know. There's no trail about why he did it.
Right. But
I think he had said once, documented, that he didn't like Donald Trump.
Right. And I think the more concern is that he doesn't have a digital trail. Like maybe they'll find a binder or some shit in his house, but if he doesn't have a digital trail, he just taught. Listen, for all we know, he could have been meeting with other people like him who are doing the same shit, and they don't know about it because he never had a digital trail. Now, obviously, they're going to try to ping his phone for the next, leading up to the event. They're going to try to reverse to see where he's been. But if he was smart, like I think this kid was, he might have left his phone and met with people, and they did it the old-fashioned way, And if they did that, we can definitely see more of this. But I don't think. I mean, I guess now with this happening, I can't see somebody else trying something, but I could definitely see a grand attack, and that would be scary if that did happen.
Yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen. That's the kind of thing Nicole Sauce doesn't like to think too much about.
Well, I unfortunately I thrive in chaos, so
yeah,
I live for it, which sucks, but it is, but it is fun.
Is that why your chosen profession is your chosen profession?
Yeah. I like the chaos, man. I feel comfortable in it. When shit goes sideways, I'm just like, all right, now what do we do? And then you do what you do. I don't freeze up. I definitely get a kick out of it. So that's why when shit like this happens, one side of me is like, all right, let's see where this goes.
Bring it.
Yeah, I'm dying to see where this goes. I'm dying to see how bad this is going to get. How many people are going to get the courage to do something similar to this? That's another problem altogether. But, ma'am, it's time for us to go off the air.
Okay.
I do want to have you back on because this was easy flowing, if you will. Not too many females I have on could hold their own. some I have to pull teeth, and then after I pull teeth, I'm gonna fucking go hang myself.
Oh, I
So,
hate that
yeah.
kind of conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, so you did very good. I do appreciate you for coming on here, and I do appreciate you for dealing with my bullshit that happened earlier.
I was like,
Thank
I
you
got a
for that.
StreamYard account. I can just link your channel. We'll be good to go. And you're like, I
Yeah.
have one. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for that. And God, I'm gonna start kicking people in the teeth.
Well, you know what? No matter what happens I'm going to do my shameless pitch. No matter what happens in the next few months, you're going to be better off if you have more skills and more connections. And a good way to do that is to go to events like the Self-Reliance Festival, October 5th and 6th, and our website for tickets, which are only $50 right now through the end of the month, is selfreliancefestival.com. We also have a free webinar coming up in like a week and a half. It's Self-Reliance Voices. That's at selfreliancefestival.com/webinar. You can kind of see what the festival's about, and then you can go there and meet this guy right here, or find something near you. If that's not a good fit for you, you don't want to come to Camden, Tennessee and be around the coolest preppers in the world, you could go to the second coolest preppers in the world and go to a different event that's closer to you. But that in-person connection that you get at these events, in addition to the skills you can learn, are what gives you extra resilience, like the most important resilience, I think. It's knowing a guy, right? That's what always gets you out of things, is knowing a guy.
Well, guys, you heard selfreliantfestival.com. I put the link in the chat, so do me a favor. At the very least, hit the link, float around on the website, see whether or not you can make it. One shot, one kill. There might be some LARPing. I don't know. There's
There
a
will be
lot of
defense dogs biting.
yeah. There's a lot. There is a lot of LARPing, and it's funny. I'm not military, so when I see it, I'm like, fuck, man. But listen, there's only one way to be when you're carrying a firearm and you're rolling with a group, right? You can't run around like a savage with fucking guns. You gotta become a unit, and the only way to become a unit is to LARP. So it's the way I've seen shit run. I'm like, it works, right? It works in the fire department, it works in the police department, military. It works, unfortunately. And I know it sucks. It's one shot, one kill was in the military, so he takes issue with it. I know he does. But anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. I'm gonna head over to the Angry Truth. We're gonna talk about the incident with the FBI stopping by a little more, because there were more things I thought about as they left. Anyway, with that, guys, thank you for joining me. Nicole, thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys, some of you guys, in like 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.